And now, is she on my left? Is she on my right? Who
Hi.
knows? Hi everyone. So welcome to our very first bonus brunch session. This is a conversation leading on from our live fitness brunch, which happened last week. And it was entitled Lean Girls. And we had the amazing Andrea Cage, who's here with us today,
Hi.
take us through some weight training tips for women specifically. She answered a lot of questions, although there was a few more, and that's what we're going to do today is answer some more. So I'll start off by letting you know a little bit about me. I'm Tola McCauley. I'm the owner and founder of TMacLife. And if you haven't already attended a fitness brunch, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah,
So
what are you doing?
where have you been? They're so much fun. They're good. It's a great community to connect with other women. And then you do get to learn something that is specific to women's health. So it's a win-win-win at the end of the day. And then not to mention you get a goodie bag that's full of amazing treats. This last week, the women, they got resistance bands included with the goodie bag, as well as all the other treats, so they can continue with their weight training and resistance training at home. So yeah, like I said, I'm Tola from TMacLife. It's a health and wellbeing company to specialize in sports therapy, personal training, and then of course, these amazing monthly fitness brunches. So following on from the fitness brunch, we have a bonus brunch session, which is brand new. This is our very first one. And the idea is that you get to take away the information you've learned from the bonus brunch session and feel really confident to do the thing at home. So today it'll be resistance training. We want you to leave today's session knowing what you're doing. If you're walking into a gym, we want you to feel confident to walk into the weights section and know that, you know what, I know what I'm doing today and I'm not scared. I feel brave, and today I know which goal I'm going to smash at the end of the day. So yeah, that's what we want you to take away from today's session. And then of course the live fitness brunch session, kind of just want you to follow along, get a taster into it, and just go with that. So of women, they have a misconception that weight training is going to make you look bulky, look like a man, and you know it's not good to train weights if you're a woman, which is totally the opposite. Actually, it can give you an amazing physique, it's great for your strength, and it can actually help you burn fat faster than you think, than sitting on a treadmill for over an hour or jogging on a treadmill. You're not going to be sitting on it. So we just want to just get over those misconceptions and give you the practical steps to help you to do the weight training and resistance training. You don't need a bunch of weights to start with. You don't actually need any weights to start with, but Andrea is going to talk to you a bit more about that. It's a bit of info as to how you got into what you do now, and you know, just a little bit more about your background and where you're from. We want to know everything about you.
Okay, well, I'll try and keep it like brief because I could go on and on and on. But so I live in Wiz Beach.
Okay.
So rewinding back to how I started getting into fitness. When I went to a performing arts college full time when I was, God, how old was I? 18, 19. And that was full time. So my dream years ago was to be a full-time performer. And I loved dancing, I loved singing, so you know, jazz hands and all that. So yeah, that was my dream back then. And I love musicals now, and you know, that will always be a part of me. So the plan was to go to a musical theatre college. I was lucky enough to get accepted into a variety of colleges around London. But the only thing that prevented me from going was financial reasons. You know, living in London, the cost of going to these colleges is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it kind of led me on a different path. So while I was training full-time in musical theatre, luckily I qualified as a fitness instructor while I was training, because they gave it to us as an extra sort of curriculum.
Wow.
So yeah, I was lucky enough to qualify as an instructor years ago. So you know, when I graduated from that college, you know, I started, obviously my plan to further my career in musical theatre didn't go to plan, which is fine, and it was tough at the time, but you know, it is what it was.
Yeah.
So I then started teaching fitness classes, because for me, going from you know, days while I was at college, you know, they were really hardcore. They were dancing, it was singing, it was non-stop every single day. So to go from that into a job where I was perhaps sat at a desk all day, you know, I'm not knocking that, but that wasn't for me.
It's not for you, yeah.
It really wasn't for me. So for me, I wanted to get back into a studio. So the way to do it was to teach classes. So I started like aerobics classes locally. I started working in a local ladies gym.
Okay.
Literally just up the road from me. Started doing classes there, and literally it's just built up from there. I found a new passion, and I always believe that when one door closes, another one does open. And
I so agree with that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened for me. So I started teaching fitness classes. You know, I built up sort of like my reputation around here, built my business up. I started doing training days, so I qualified in Zumba. I done Zumba, I done boxercise, I done
amazing.
So yeah, for me, I just wanted to offer more. So I think it was back in 2016, I then took the amazing leap to become a PT, and it was just the best decision. So yeah, I then became a qualified PT, and I've been working in a gym about 20 minutes away from me, with a wonderful team, other trainers, and yeah, so I've been doing my PT for a good few years now. I've been working at the gym for about 8 years, because I used to, I've been teaching classes there first, and qualified as a PT. So yeah, I've got a really good client base now. Last year, I qualified as a sports massage therapist, and you gave me so much good advice on it. You were like,
that's good.
Yeah, so you massively helped my confidence with that.
I'm happy I could help with that.
You know, and the thing is, I do believe that if something scares you, then it's always a good decision.
It's good, to come out of the comfort zone. Exactly,
absolutely. And the thing is, and the same thing applies with your training, but with life. You know,
exactly,
you know, it's not a case of if you're unsure of it, but if it scares you, but in a good way.
It makes you uncomfortable, but you know that means the dream is big enough to try and achieve.
100%. Yeah. So, and yeah, the rest is history.
I can totally relate to that passion. It's like, I love that feeling of encouraging others, and then when you see they are gaining from it, you see week to week they've improved, or they're reaching their goals. I love helping people towards that, so I can totally relate to. Just a few questions. So following on from last week at the fitness brunch, some women wanted to kind of just understand that why is it that when they do the weight training, that they won't look muscly? What is it about weight training that will prevent that happening?
Okay, so I mean, you'll see men in the gym and they'll be like, you know, looking like the Incredible Hulk or whatever. Our bodies, women's bodies, are totally different to men. Okay, hormones, you know, we are totally different. I'm not saying that women can't get bulky when it comes to weight training, but it all depends on what your goals are. So, you know, if you are going to lift a significant weight, yes, you will gain size, but don't think, a lot of people seem to think that as soon as they start lifting weights, they are going to get bulky, and it is not the case. It is not the case. Our bodies are built differently. So, you know, a lot of women do panic and worry about that. And I hear, to be fair, even to this day, I mean, obviously I know the gyms are shut at the moment, but even recently when I've been at the gym, you know, I do still hear women say to me, oh, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to look bulky. And what they'll say is, but I want to tone up. And I'm like, well, you need to be lifting weight. You know, you're not going to get bulky. Our bodies don't work the same way as what men's bodies do. Hormones like that. So it's, you know, women, you know, you can see images online that women do sort of weightlifting competitions and where they get all like tanned up and all that. You know, and they do look, you can see almost every muscle in
every single muscle. You
know, and that, I mean, that sort of lifestyle, I mean, that takes 100% of someone's time, dedication. But that's not, you shouldn't compare that to someone like me or you.
No.
Because, you know, our goals are totally different.
Completely,
so
yeah.
Someone who wants to look like that, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, but you will not look bulky like what men do, basically.
No, you won't. And then actually just touching on that point is that when you see women and bodybuilding competitions and things, you have to look at it like, listen, they're athletes in that profession. So you wouldn't look at, I don't know, like Serena Williams and think, oh, I've started playing tennis now, and now I'm going to be looking like that. It doesn't work like that. They are at the extreme end of the spectrum. Same with runners, sprinters, athletics training professionals. That's their profession. So they're at the extreme end of that. And even within that field, every person is an individual, so everyone is going to look a certain way. Not everyone's going to look exactly the same. Obviously you might be a bit more predisposed depending on the sport, like swimmers, gymnasts, they have a certain type of body type, but even within their fields, everyone's different. So you can't compare the everyday average person that has a normal job and kids, or you know, you can't compare that to, and you go to the gym 3 times a week, to those women. It's not the same. So I'm glad you said that. And so just away from the negative stigma of it, what benefits can women actually gain from weight training? So when we know now that we're not going to get bulky, we're not going to look like the Incredible Hulk, so what will we get? What's the benefits of lifting weights?
So, I mean, I will say the benefits, I mean, I could be here a while explaining.
Yeah.
I'll give you a handful of benefits. So you touched upon in the intro, Tola, that weight training, strength training, resistance training is good for fat loss.
Yeah.
So the reason why that is because when you weight train, it helps increase muscle mass. So muscle mass is more metabolically active than what body fat is. Okay, so when you weight train, not only are you burning more calories through the workout, so there's a process called EPOC, and it's called excess post exercise consumption, oxygen consumption. So it basically, what it means is strength training, it gives you a higher physical demand through the workout. Okay, so say if you was to do an hour-long treadmill run and an hour strength session, the calories that you will burn in your cardio session will be the calories. Say you burn 400 calories. When you finish the workout, you will burn 400 calories in that run, and then that will be it. You'll finish the workout, you'll walk out the gym, and then that will be it. But whereas with weight training and resistance training, you'll put your body through a higher physical demand. So not only can you burn more calories, but you will continue to burn calories as a result when you leave the gym. Yeah. So because muscle is more metabolically active.
Yeah.
So that's why with resistance training, it's really good for fat loss. Okay. Because it's great for changing the shape. I know you said before, like changing shape. And what have you. And a lot of people, you can see a lot of images online where you'll get one person that perhaps looks a certain way, and then another person, and they'll both weigh the same.
Yeah.
They will look totally different, but that's down to someone having more muscle.
Exactly.
How it changes you. So it's really good for fat loss. You get better joint health with it. Okay, your body mechanics. So your body mechanics is basically how you move in your day-to-day. So how you walk, how you sleep, how you sit down, how you stand up, how you carry things. So your body mechanics improve. Your joints become more stable. To be fair, I hear a lot of clients come to me with bad knees and what have you, and 9 times out of 10 the recommendation from their specialists is to strength train. Once your muscles around your joints become stronger, your joints are better supported.
Exactly.
So you know, it's great for joint health. Bone density, so going on from joints, it increases bone density, so we naturally lose our bone density as we get older. So it's great for increasing your mineral density, and it can slow down the process of losing bone density. So conditions like osteoarthritis and what have you, strength training is really, really beneficial for that. not only that, it will help with when you increase your bone density, or when you slow down that process. When you, for example, you know, someone falls over or whatever, it reduces the risks of breaks and what have you.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, just not to a massive degree, but it will most certainly help prevent injuries and breaks later on in life.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really good point to make as well, because although we are a lot of us train for the now, but if you think long term in the older stages of life, I think that's an amazing seed that you've sown, if you like, because all that strength training will definitely help, like you said, with the bone density, and even your joints as well. They're at a better quality, so you don't necessarily have to have the, you know, the traditional, oh, you know, I'm getting old, it's because I'm getting old. You don't need to follow that route. And even if you are already at that stage, there's never a wrong time to start with strength training. As long as you're alive, you can, obviously with no predisposed injuries and conditions and stuff, you can strength train at any age. You don't have to be young to lift up a weight.
Absolutely. I've got clients, I've got a wide variety of clients of all ages, and it's pretty amazing. I've got clients who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I've even got clients in their 70s.
Wow.
That strength do my classes, that, you know, take part in, you know, not just weight training, but they do other classes as well.
Okay.
And I find often, because a lot of my older clients have been training with me long enough now, they're more educated on strength training and their form, and they can actually lift better than what some of the younger people can.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and obviously that's down to coaching and learning and educating them. But a lot of people do say to me, oh, I can't do that because of my age or whatever. And it's like, if anything, you should be doing that because of your age.
Yes, exactly.
Get on its head. Like, don't say, no, I'm too old to do that.
Right.
You know, I would have to say, no, don't give me that excuse.
Don't go down that. Don't even think about it. Exactly. Exactly.
You should be doing it because of your age, you know.
Right. How you've described it.
You know, we look at the health benefits for that, you know, for people that get older. But, you know, we know that strength training is good for fat loss. We know that it helps increase our muscle mass. We know it helps increase our metabolism. So really, it's a case of why are you not strength training?
Exactly. It's like there's so many benefits that come with it. It's amazing. And I think really knowledge is key at this point, because a lot of people just don't know this. They might see it as cardio is one thing, strength is another thing. I'm just going to stick to my cardio. And it's not to bash cardio. I mean, we'll talk about that in another fitness brunch. Cardio is great for a lot of things, but you need to remember that cardiovascular, the meaning is actually your heart, is you're building your heart, you're training your heart. So don't just see it as, oh, that's the only way to lose weight, or that's the only way to burn fat, because ultimately when you're doing cardio training, you're training your heart at the end of the day. So you need to think about it as you're creating a more effective heart in that way.
Absolutely. Your heart is a muscle. So
Exactly.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people were asking, okay, so now we know all of these things, how often do we train? And they're still with the notion that I don't want to be bulky, so how often are we doing this strength training per week, if you like? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. Do I do it 5 days a week? And also with that, how am I structuring my workout? Am I doing upper body? Am I doing lower body? Like I see a lot of people, they do legs, upper body, or they might do a push session, pull session. So so how do we structure the workouts for the week, and what do we do within those workouts?
Okay, so a lot of it depends. So how many times a week you train is you've got to look at what your time and what your availability is.
Yeah.
So in a way, what you need to kind of strip it back and say to yourself, right, I'm new to the gym. What days can I allocate through the week? So the last thing you want to be doing is put a pressure on yourself to say, oh, I've got to get to the gym 5 days a week. I've got to get to the gym 6 days a week.
Yeah.
If that's not realistic for you, it will never work.
Exactly.
Okay, you'll probably start for a good few weeks and then it will fizzle out.
Exactly.
So first off, you need to look at what your availability is realistically for you. Have you got a family to work around? Have you got a job to work around? How far away is the gym for you? Are you even signing up to the gym? Are you training from home? So, you know, there's more than one thing to look at, as in to say, how often do you strength train? What I will say is the minimum, okay, just to maintain health and to actually help start to increase your muscle is 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
So that's all you need. You don't need to be doing 7 days a week strength training to gain muscle. Even just 2 sessions a week will make a difference.
Okay.
So you've got to look at first, okay, what's your availability, what your goals are. Yeah. So 2 to 3 days a week is enough. It's an adequate amount of time to do it. If you can dedicate more days through the week, great. If you can allocate 5 days a week, then yes, you can then split your strength sessions up into body parts. So you can focus on a leg session, legs and core. You can do chest, triceps and shoulders. You can do back and biceps. You can even do a cardio day. Okay, so I'm not saying, you know, forget cardio, because to be fair, I know when I do a strength session, my heart rate is up there.
Yeah, it does.
So a lot of people seem to think that to do a cardio session, you need to hit the treadmill. Well, you don't really, because if you're putting your body through enough stress in your strength session, that's going to elevate your heart rate anyway.
Exactly.
So it's, you know, but I'm not saying that doing a HIIT session or just a continuous cardio session once or twice a week is going to be bad. You can do that. If you enjoy it, do it. If you force yourself to do something you're not going to enjoy, you ain't going to stick to it.
Yeah. I think those are 2 really good points to touch on as well. Quickly, it's just about, if it's fun, do it, and then also remember your goal. Why are you doing it in the first place? Remember your why. Are you lifting weights because you want to be a power lifter, you want to be a bodybuilder? Then obviously you're going to go down that training route. But if you're just doing it because you want to look good, or you just want to build your strength, or you want to, you know, you want to look a certain way, then again, remember your why. And if you don't enjoy that and you're just doing it because you heard Tolo and Andrea said that it's good for you, then that's not the reasons why you should be doing it. Stick to your treadmill. There's nothing wrong with it. Health is wealth. If you enjoy it and you enjoy walking on a treadmill for an hour, go ahead, do that. There's nothing wrong with it. I think as long as you enjoy it, it's fun, and then obviously it's within limits and you're not hurting yourself, then it's absolutely fine, and you're going towards your goals. And even if your goal is that I just want to attend the gym and do something, then that's fine. You don't have to have a goal of I want to be 5% muscle, and you know, you don't need to.
No, absolutely. A lot of those sort of specific goals, like having 5% muscle, 5% fat or whatever, it's you know, it's, don't get me wrong, you know, it's realistic for some people, but for the majority of people that go to the gym, it's not.
It's not, exactly.
You know, you've got family to think about, you've got work to think about. You know, is it realistic for you? It's got to be specific for you. There's no point going into the gym and doing a weight session because so and so is doing it.
Right. Exactly.
Even though we've gone through the benefits and we know what the benefits are, and I would always advise everybody to do some form of strength training, whether it's using your own body weight from home or whether you do go to a gym. You've got to, like you say, you've got to look at why you want to do it as an individual.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we can't ignore that we're in a pandemic. And we have been for about a year. Hi. We're in this pandemic. So we in the UK, I don't know where you guys are watching this from, but in the UK, we're currently in lockdown, and Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, said that gyms can reopen on the 12th. So with all this information we've got, what would you advise someone that we've said, okay, you know what, I'm ready to start strength training, but when I go back to the gym, what do? We walk up, we walk into the gym, we've got our bag, everything's down, we're ready to go. The weights are there looking at us.
And then you're like,
okay, so what do we do? which weight do we lift up? Do we go for the dumbbells? Do we get the resistance band? Do we go to the Olympic rack? Like, what do we do? Or do we just stay at home and do some body weight?
So what I would suggest, I mean, the gyms will open. I mean, if for those of you that are watching this now, we do have a few weeks before the gyms open. Mm-hmm. So what I would advise first now is try and if you're finding that you are working from home and you're not as active as what you normally are, I would first start off increasing your activity levels now.
Right.
Because what will happen is if you literally go from 0 to 10, and then you go to the gym and then you hammer your body weight and then you literally do everything all at once, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to injure yourself, you know, your body is going to ache and your body will suffer. So what I would advise to start with now is start increasing your activity levels now. So there's a term that's used in the fitness industry and it's called NEAT. And that is basically your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's a tongue twister. I have to say it really slow to get it right. So that basically that counts for all the activities through the day that are not classed as exercise, that are not planned exercise or sport. So that will be housework. Yeah. That will be getting your cup of coffee off or your water off the table. It will be fidgeting. It will be walking the dog. It will be playing outside with your kids. Right. So everything that isn't planned is your NEAT. So even your steps through the day. So I would first start off trying to increase your NEAT first. Okay. Right, okay. If you literally found that the last few months you've been really lazy, you've been a couch potato. If you go to the gym on day one and then literally try every machine going, you're going to hurt yourself, and it's going to be too much of a shock to your system, to your nervous system. It's just going to fire it up and it's just going to go mad. Yeah. So I would start increasing your activity levels now. If you were going to the gym before lockdown, and you're then obviously going to go back from the 12th, I would advise that you don't lift the same weight as you were pre-lockdown. The only way that you can lift the same weight is if you've got a fully fitted gym at home, and you've been training the same and you've been able to progress your weights at home. Right. If you haven't, then you need to reduce your weights by at least 50%. Okay, when you first go back to the gym. Okay. It will probably take a week or 2 weeks for your body to get back into sort of, I'm back, the muscle memory. Yeah. Again, you know, your body can quickly adapt, but you need to think about reducing your weight. If you are a complete beginner and you've never ever lifted a dumbbell, you don't know what a squat is, you don't know what to do, get a personal trainer. Yeah. I know. Yeah, to help you. Just like that. Just like that. So, but the thing is, even though obviously I know people watching this will think, oh, well, she's going to say that. Yeah. Honestly, you know, even if you book 1 or 2 sessions or a small package of sessions, a block of sessions, you can sit with them and you can explain to them, right, I'm a complete beginner. They will ask you, they should hopefully ask you what your goals are. Right. They will guide you and they will give you a kickstart and they will educate you on how to lift correctly. You know, they will help condition your body through the right way. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say if you're a beginner, head over to the squat rack or start doing deadlifts straight away. Right. For me, a lot of my beginner clients, I do condition them on machines. Okay. First. Yeah. Depending on what their goals are and depending, you know, medical conditions, and there's more than one factor to consider. Right, exactly. But using machines are a good way to sort of start you off. A lot of people sort of think that you need to be hammering away at, you know, dumbbells and what have you. And I'm not going to knock that. But if you are really starting from scratch, then there's nothing wrong with going to the machines first. Yeah. The first few weeks, okay, and then you progress it from there. Exactly. Progress it from there. So, you know, I would advise that. Not only that, but you've got to look at your diet. You've got to look at your sleep. You've got to look at how much water you're having. Exactly. So, you know, there's more than one thing to think about to consider before you then get back to the gym. So all
Yeah.
these sort of healthy eating habits and sleeping patterns, they all need to be sort of implemented now, so your body is better prepared for when you go back to the gym.
Yeah, and I like that way of thinking. It's a very progressive thing, and I think that's another benefit of having a personal trainer. Again, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But at the end of the day, they're the professional, so they're able to organize all this information that's in the world, Google, Instagram, wherever you found your information, and organize it for you so that it makes sense. You don't injure yourself, and then you're actually working towards your goal. Sometimes I think we all have information overload, and even if you've not looked at Google or anything, once you've signed up for a gym and you look around, you're like, where do I start? You look at all the treadmills over there, you see all the people on the weights, or you just like, where do I start? What do I do? You're tasting a little bit of everything, but you're not really getting anywhere. So I think a personal trainer, again, they're educating you for the long term so that you actually know what to do on your own long term. So like Andrea just said, that you just maybe book a couple sessions to teach you how to do things, or even a block of sessions so that you can get used to a habit and a routine of doing things. And then once you fly out of the nest, you're able to do it on your own, and you're able to practice it on your own and progress on your own. So your personal trainer will even teach you how to progress, so that you don't just have to keep going back and forth and being like, okay, I've reached this goal now, what do I do? You'll be able to do that on your own because you would have learned how to do that. So that being said, sorry.
Yeah, no, and I will say, even if you decide not to have a personal trainer, because I know having a personal trainer, it is a luxury for some people. It's a luxury. A lot of people financially can't have a personal trainer, and that is completely fine. It's completely fine. But you've got people like me and Tola that are willing to help you guys out with as many, issues or worries that you have.
Right.
When you go to the gym, wherever gym you're at, okay, whether you have a PT or not, if you go in and you're unsure about how to use a machine, or you're unsure how to do a deadlift, or whatever it is, ask for help.
Right.
Don't just wing it. Don't just wing it and just think, oh, okay, I'll just do it like this.
Yeah.
Because chances are you could hurt yourself. So
exactly.
I encourage that as much as possible. Is if you're not sure, and just ask for help. Because once you see the PTs walking around the gym, we're not as scary as what.
No, we're not. And in fact, we want people to talk to us, because we're always kind of initiating the conversation, and then sometimes it's like that creepy guy at the bar that's talking to everyone. We are talking to everyone all the time, and not everyone receives that well. So sometimes it's fine to approach us, you speak to us. We want the conversation and we want to help. We've got all this information and we just want to give it out anyways. We want to help you. Well, I know I am. I'm very eager to help. I'm very eager to help anyone on their journey, no matter where they are, because I just know how much they can gain from it. So I want you to have this information that I have as well. Yeah. 100%. So don't be afraid to go ahead with that.
No, absolutely not. No, definitely not.
So thanks so much for these tips. There's a few things that you touched on. So things like deadlifts and squats, they are quite popular exercises. I see a lot of people in the gym, even at home, a lot of people have started doing them. And because there's so many different variants to doing it, you can add a jump, you can add different types of weights like kettlebells, dumbbells, bars. What would you say some sort of tips are for just the main foundations of doing those things? So people that maybe have done them before, what would you advise? So we'll start with a deadlift. Like maybe how would you advise that you go about doing that, and then the same with a squat?
Okay, so first off, you need to understand that the two exercises are completely different. So yes, they work the lower body, and they're great for they're both compound exercises, which basically means they work more than one muscle group at one time. So you'll see, a lot of people will be doing them in the gym. So first off, the deadlift is a hip dominant movement, and the squat is a knee dominant movement. So what I can do is I can give you a bit of a demonstration and just talk you through some points. Would you like that? Is that okay?
Yeah. I'll follow you. I'll be the client.
Okay, so let me just tilt my screen down so hopefully you guys can still see me well enough. Okay, so as I said before, the deadlift is a hinge movement. It's a hip dominant movement. All right, so it is primarily coming from your hips. So sorry if you can't see my head, but you want to see this area of me anyway.
Okay.
So with a deadlift, you want to start with your legs hip width apart. Okay. So what you want to try and maintain, which is really, really important through the deadlift, is a neutral spine. So that basically means how you stand. Okay, obviously for people with poor posture, with the sort of like excess curvature in the lumbar spine, you need to think about tucking under just slightly. Okay, and that gives you a nice neutral spine. So with the deadlift, you start, there are different stances that you can go through, but I'll just show you a sort of a hip distance, normal sort of stiff leg deadlift. So from there, toes are forward, your legs are hip width apart. Now, what you need to think about is pushing from your hips. You're folding from your hips. So what will happen is as you fold forward, instead of your knees bending forward like they do in a squat, your knees stay where they are. So your knees stay in line with your ankles, okay? So
right.
Try not to let the knees bend forward. So the idea is you hinge from the hips, you keep your spine nice and neutral, okay? So if anything, you're kind of pushing your bum backwards.
Right.
Yeah? So while you're in this position, you should feel that your hamstrings lengthen at the back. Can you feel that in your hamstrings?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So it's like, so you can feel your hamstrings load up. So your deadlift will work your hamstrings and your glutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it will secondarily work into your lower back and your core, but it is mainly a hamstring and glute exercise.
Okay.
So if you're doing it with a barbell, okay, you want to make sure that when you lower the bar, you keep it nice and close to your shins.
Right.
So I do tend to see a lot of people, they hold the bar out here. So if you hold the bar too far away from you, it puts too much pressure into your lower spine.
Right.
So when you're lifting a really heavy weight, the last thing you want to be doing is holding it away from your body.
Yeah.
You need to keep it close to your body.
Okay.
So that you're not going to hurt yourself. So the same thing applies with your deadlift. So you fold from the hips. I'm just gripping my hands like I've got a bar.
Yes.
All right. So your spine stays really nice and neutral. Yep. And then the idea is that your hips and your chest then rise together at the same time.
Got you.
Yeah. And then you fold from the hips, you push your bum back, and then you squeeze through your glutes. That's really, really important. So once you're in this position here, you tighten through your glutes and then squeeze them all the way until you get to the top, and you maintain that squeeze even at the top of the deadlift.
Right, got you.
Right? Your breathing is also really, really important. So the idea is when you lift the bar up, so when you come up out of the deadlift, that is the deadlift. So you're basically lifting a dead weight.
Okay.
So
right.
Exhale on the way up and inhale on the way down, because the hard part is actually picking the weight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's the deadlift. So the main thing is you keep your spine really, really nice and neutral. I do tend to see sometimes either online or in videos or at the gym, sometimes people, they have a curved spine.
Yes.
And it's like, honestly, and I'm inside. I'm like, oh my God. And to be fair, and that's why as PTs, I would always jump in and say, look, just protect your back. Let me talk you through your form. So you've got to watch that spine, keep it nice and neutral.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you for that. Okay, so squat, what do we do?
Okay, so I will show you just a normal toes forward parallel squat.
Okay.
Know that there's different variations. So as I said before, the squat is more of a knee dominant exercise.
Right.
This will work mostly through your quads and again your glutes.
Okay.
As well. So we start with the toes forward. Let me move back a bit. Start with the toes forward. So we'll just do it as a body weight squat. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that when you're sitting in a squat, you want to imagine that you've got a chair behind you. Mm-hmm. So everybody in their day-to-day lives, they perform squats for when you sit in the chair and when you get up out of the chair. Obviously, it's not going to be constantly like this all day. Yeah. But that's the basic principle.
Yeah.
So the idea is you have your toes forward, you push your hips back and you do bend your knees a little bit more with your squat.
Right.
A lot of people seem to think that you can't bring your knees in line with your toes. You can.
Right.
What you don't want to do is have your knees bend forward too much, because then that will then lift your heels off the floor. So don't allow your knees to track over your toes, because it can lift your heels off.
Right.
But it's okay to keep your knees in line. Okay, so if you bend forward slightly, then that's fine. So you sit your hips back. A lot of it depends on your mobility and your flexibility that you have.
Yeah.
Whether how low you can get into your squat.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you do have really tight calves, then sort of like really sort of restricted movement in your ankles.
Yeah.
That can affect how deep you get into your squat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, your squat, your idea is toes are forward, chest stays upright. Okay. And then once you hit the bottom of the squat, again, we squeeze those glutes and then we rise to the top. Yeah?
Yeah.
So really making sure as well that you don't drop your shoulders forward. You remain nice and neutral. So I'll show you from the side. You remain neutral in your spine. That's it, you got it. Woo, look at us go.
You're doing our own little workout here.
My legs burn here. I'm actually
I know. I'm like, wake up.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time today. That was really insightful, even for myself. So would you leave us with any top tips, anything you want to give us as we go away?
So, I mean, what I will say is, I mean, I touched upon this earlier, is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I know it can, because I know when I first started teaching, it was, and I started going into the gym myself using weights and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
It is intimidating. It can be intimidating. But just keep reminding yourself why you're doing it. And everybody, the thing is, when you go into a gym, everybody is entitled to be there.
Yes.
Everybody in there is making a positive step into making their lives better.
Exactly.
So, a lot of people, you might look at some really beefy guy in the gym or whatever, and you're like, oh, but he's there for the same reasons you might be.
Yeah.
So I would sort of go in with an open mind. Always ask for help if you're unsure.
Yes.
Ask for help, and just more importantly as well, enjoy what you're doing.
Okay.
You've got to enjoy what you're doing.
Have fun with it. Yeah.
You've got to look at your goals, enjoy what you're doing as part of the process, but you've got to enjoy the journey, because you've got to think of it as going to be long term. It's not a short term thing. Whatever changes you make it for the long term.
Okay.
So
thank you. That was really, really helpful. So thanks so much for your time, and thanks everyone for watching. I hope this has been really helpful, and then we'll see you at the next brunch.
Yeah.
Bye.